Hello everyone. Today I wanted to showcase my easy steel path warframe build. I'm by no means the best player, nor the best aimer, really the best anything in this game, and I definitely am not the best modder. But a lot of people ask me what my build is for steel path, and before I really looked into steel path easy builds, I tried to understand it and I tried to follow all the big YouTubers, and just for me, it didn't click well. So I went through, got all what I liked from them, and I've changed them. You don't need to have max of any rank really on any item or mod specifically. Even Archon shards, you don't need all these crazy Archon shards. It helps a lot. What I'm personally running is a nourish build. I'm a general person. I like everything to be easy. The only thing I change is for my weapons. On my weapons, I change the mods depending on the faction. I don't know everything about double dipping and triple dipping with faction mods, so I just run the faction mod or the elemental for that faction. But I liked gameplay to be easy, so I use Fused Reservoir. You definitely don't need it. If you have Prime Surefoot, even normal Surefoot, that's probably a better thing to put there. But for me, I like this. It makes it a lot easier, a lot more easy. I like to put on a YouTube video and just watch the game. I use Nourish so I never have to mod for it. And with Arcane Stress, using with the Shock Mote, you practically have infinite energy. You obviously don't need Nourish. You can use Mirage's Eclipse. You can use Nourish. You can use Rhino's Roar. You can keep that. You can even take off, let's say, Fuse Reservoir and Message and put on her augment ability for Breach Surge where you get more critical chance. But I had personally don't do that. Anyways, I use Arcane Avenger because I like the critical damage. I used to be a Exodia Contagion 1 trick where all I would do is sit there and melee attack in the air. Well, melee attacking in the air doesn't really get you too far, especially in Steel Path. It helps if you have the right build, but I think certain guns do it a lot better, especially once you learn it. And even if you get like a cheese weapon, like I use the Tort a lot because it's just that good, and Wisp is that good with it. It's just a lot of crit chance, a lot you don't have to really like build for. Obviously, if you're a lot better, maybe you don't need Avenger. If you're better at building, maybe you don't need Avenger. Personally, it's just what I use. It's what I always recommend people if they want to go for a beginner crit gun build. But I always tell them, take it with a grain of salt. I use Molt Augmented because the longer you play a mission, the better the longer you play, the better it gets. And then I don't have a lot of duration, I have 152. So like Nourish is only around 40 seconds, the Reservoir are only around they're 45. So you're really casting a lot. Even in like an Exterminate, maybe you might get like 20, 30 kills while you're running through, but it still adds up a little bit. I know some people like to run the Bellerose or efficiency. Really anything that boosts power, duration. People really like it. I know some people like to run Hotshot, Energize. If they don't run Stretch, Arcane Stretch, or Archon Stretch, whatever it's called. Some people run the energy with Equilibrium. It's not personally what I do. I recommend it's like this is the easiest, I think, beginner. And I've had a lot of people tell me that take this build that they really like it. Now, as far as weapons go, I use the Torrid. I do have a Riven on my final, on my Zaw. You definitely don't need a Riven. It helps out a lot. I've just had it for a long time and I use it. But see, what I do is I mod. Now, I don't exactly know how it works, so definitely take a grain of salt. Me, like whenever I start the mission, I get a headshot or two, and I have deadhead. And with deadhead, and then you get your kill, you get a kill, and then really after your first kill, everything snowballs. And I mod for the individual elements. I know a lot of people like to do the dipping and double dipping or like hot shot and go off of that, but for me, it just doesn't work. I'm not too for sure about it. But essentially, you'll always see hammer shot, vital sense, the galvanized mods, critical delay. Sometimes it's taken off. Like for example, armor. I have to run 3 to have heat and corrosive, and then for like corpus, all you need is magnetic. So makes it really easy. The Toxis is my main secondary. Obviously, it's a backup. It does a lot of damage. I recommend the Grimoire also. If you mod it just right, you can do the Tinted Deadtron. Some people do the Pox I've seen. I I've always done the Toxis because it's a really good secondary, like really good secondary. If you can't kill something with the Torrid because of attenuation or it's just not, you didn't get a kill with it, I guarantee you can finish them off with the dual Toxicist. I don't have every mod maxed, nor will I probably max them anytime soon, even though I have all this endo. I'm trying to save for something else. But it's the same thing as the Torrid. I just mod for the element. You got to keep in mind though with this, on your incarnate form, your gas will get added, or toxic will get added. So watch out for that. Besides that, like really having a slower fire rate too. I know a lot of people have told me that fire rate's really good to have, but with your wisp mode, you also get a lot more. So sure you can add it, but then like if you're like me and not really good at aiming, sometimes it's better not to have as much fire rate because I do miss a lot of shots. And then as far as my melee knife, I know the best. Exodia Contagion. Exodia Contagion is a really, really good non, like you don't need the buff for it at all. Now, with my companion, I have it where I have condition overload, so I get a lot of extra damage. But even without condition overload, like you could throw, what is it called? You can throw Elementalist in that spot. Same with the Rivet. Definitely don't need it. You can heavy attack with this, it's really good. You can add more slash to this. You can add extra elements with this. Berserker Fury, Steel, really anything. But for with this Riven and me, this has always worked the best where like in a really, really bad pinch, I can throw the Zal and normally it'll kill everything, especially if I have all the extra elements on already from my companion. But then sometimes also it doesn't work exactly like that. Like let's say for example you get the Steel Path boss, Angst, all them, and they come up to you and you hit them with your turret a lot and you break their shield and you get them halfway done, then they're doing no damage. Well, you can spam a few Zaws at them, and if you hit them, the extra dot tick from the sword disappearing does like a lot of damage, or you dual Toxicist. And even if you don't have Exodia Contagion, you can just make this a heavy attack build because the heavy attack probably honestly does more damage. It's just the Contagion, depending on where you are, does more and it clears out a lot more. And then as far as I switch around. I like Matarai though. It's the only Tar on Strike ability that I have so far. And then it's just overpowered on the operator. If you do Void Angels or you have to run it, you run into a place where to have you need focus. Matter Eye is just the best, simply because it's the easiest, contamination wave, and then you do Void Strike, and you can 2-3 shot an angel, especially now with all the new arcanes that came out for the operators. But I don't really focus on that. And then I use Nautilus Prime. I really like Cordon, but then also sometimes it doesn't help you depending on how you're running around or if you have the best aim. I don't have the best aim. And then Tenacious Spawn. Tenacious Spawn really, really helps with your critical damage. Whenever I first started using this build, I didn't even have it. So I do recommend getting it, but ultimately it's not going to make or break it. Obviously, same thing with the rank. If for whatever reason you don't have the right rank of it, don't worry about it. You can go in with a lower rank, and I guarantee you it'll obviously be a little slower, but overall it'll still be better than having, just a hodgepodge of things. And same with Manifold Bond. Manifold Bond is the really big one because for every weapon I use the elemental mod where the more elements on an enemy, the more damage it does. Usually by a lot, usually a very noticeable difference. So with Manifold Bond, Burst Laser Prime, this is what I run, and then I have all these elements. The more, every element adds 40 to 80% damage depending on the item. And even like with the Torrid, let's say you have Corrosive and Heat. You're adding Corrosive and Heat to this. So you're doing even more damage. It just depends what you're going against. But for most easy base Steel Path things, even up to like, I don't know, people used to say that the Murmur was really hard. Even that's really easy now. But yeah. Art Gun, I don't really focus on Art Gun too much. This is what I use, the Imperial Bandle. For Steel Path, it's really, like, it worked for me. You probably don't even need all this. I just run the Itzel because you can cheese the missions by hitting the 2 on it. But, like, if you really need more damage, probably a Mesh is the best. Void Rig, I never use the Void Rig. Cage Drive, none of that. But, yeah. So one of the tests I did, I wanted to see how good this would perform on a Railjack Technosite Coda. I know some people have trouble with this. For the most part, a lot of people don't. And remember, I'm doing these solo because I do kind of want to show them off. I even have the right elements on for this. And I'm, as I say, nowhere near being an amazing player. But the build will just show itself. So you hit a few enemies, you get your Incarn on. And another thing, you can switch out the Torrid for the Burst on, for the Bratton, for the Boltor, any other really good weapon. And I use the same principle of just the Deadhead with all the other status, chance, and crit damage, crit chance mods. And they always work for me, even on stuff like this. What I do, I place, at the beginning of the mission, I place reservoirs, I hit Nourish. And then really, I don't use Brute Surge a lot. If I'm in a really hard case, like an interception mission, I know sometimes they're really hard solo, especially in Steel Path, because of how many things might spawn, depending on your computer. You place 2, and then you can teleport back and forth across the map, and you have a stun, a free stun, basically. And I don't have a lot of range, you still get like 40 to 50 meters, still enough to just hit them. Obviously, you always want to try and aim for the head, but even if you don't hit the head, as long as you get, like your 3 deadhead stacks and 1 hit of Argon Scope, you'll be fine. If you get 5 stacks of deadhead, you'll do red crits. Should be doing red crits. And what I've always noticed is that even with orange, sometimes even yellow, depending on if you have all your deadhead stacks up or not, you'll still kill everything. So you don't really have to worry about anything. But your second, for me, I use my 2 ability as the oh shit button. I always use it. I don't rely on anything else for healing. Or, well, I have the Operator Arcane, where you can teleport in and out, and you get health. I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. But I promise this build is really easy to use. It'll help a lot of people out. You can even change it. Once you start to learn with this build, I recommend trying other frames. I've slowly been opening up to other frames, and it makes the game a lot more fun because I understand how to play a game like this so that I can help build my other characters around. Maybe it's a bad habit because I'm not doing it exactly right, but I'm also learning more about the game as I go on. Me, during this fight of the Technosite, I wasn't even really paying attention. You can kind of tell in the video, but especially during the stun phases, this is what I say for like prime sure-footed, which not every mission has a crazy stun like this where you'll get thrown on the ground every 5 seconds. But like if you're not really paying attention, maybe you want it. Or you just keep hitting your 2. Like you can hit your 2 every 3-4 seconds whenever those things come out and you'll never get stunned. Can't even get damaged. Same with the magnetic strips that come up. You don't even have to focus at all. You just kind of live. It's really hard to die as this. And then everything will spawn down here in the bottom here in a second. And you just kind of go to town. If you have your Incarnate up, you just shoot at it. I start using the Zal because I'm not sure what was damaged, what wasn't damaged. You can even see I throw in a Tennokai melee there. Usually after a few seconds everything's dead. And then it's just rinse, repeat the process. Really easy. You don't even have to focus. Like during this video I was literally just watching a YouTube video over something for New Year's. Happy New Year's, by the way, guys. Hope you had an amazing 2025 and to an even better 2026. But yeah, and like I'm just aimlessly dodging the air right here, but the point still gets across. It's not very hard at all. I've always found the damage to be enough. Same with the crit chance, crit damage. I never have a problem with it. I've never not been able to kill anything. Sometimes it gets hard. I'm not sure exactly on why. Like, I know attenuation is a thing, but like I didn't think it was ever like really that bad. And as you can see, even right here, I die. But because of my operator and just hitting the Matter I1, you get so much damage that you can kill anything. I have amp shot multi-shot on my amp and fire rate. I'm farming for the Baptist right now. I'm at Legendary 2. Trying to get the 5, But yeah, this is I think, the better of my other showcases, because really in my other ones I just show off basic incursions, like everyday steel path incursions that you can do, which is a lot easier than this. So you'll really never have this trouble. So for this next clip, I have a simple capture mission, steel path incursion. A lot of people that don't know how to play steel path have never used a build, like a proper build, or everyone they've watched they don't understand. Assuming you get so far with my build, it's just this is a basic showcase of what it can do. Basic everyday steel path, nothing hard, something simple for you to do. Really, copy and paste. Or a lot of people have told me in general chat, people that look at the build, people that play the game seriously, they're like, it's pretty decent, which I'll take it. Especially because I'm not a real serious person in Warframe. I haven't done anything serious in the game, honestly. Just basic steel path stuff. The hardest thing I ever did was probably a 5x3 back in the day, whenever it was a lot harder. Now I don't even think anyone does them anymore. Might start doing them because of the new arcanes, which would be fun to see, because I know a lot of people can do some crazy stuff in this game. And then for this is where you would switch around, your builds. Really, you can use any build on any of them. You might have a little trouble if you bring the wrong element to the wrong faction, but ultimately, especially if you're running the Torrid, you won't have any problem. And it's a very quick, easy, simple, run around, kill a few things, have some fun with the game. You can watch, like a YouTube video or something, but you don't have to really focus that much. This last one, a real quick rescue mission for you, shows even if you don't know what you're doing, you can still run through some of these easier missions like rescues and captures, because you only have to do one main thing. Really quick and easy, especially with Wisp because of how fast she is. You don't have to run as much ability. Some people, you can take it out for more survivability. Since I don't go long, I have adaptation, because adaptation seems to kill most damage in base steel path. Obviously, sometimes you'll get hit with a pretty hard dot or something, may hurt. That's why you have your 2. If you know you're going to take a lot of damage, hit your 2. If you're going to get stunned, hit your 2. But you can also throw on sure-footed, prime sure-footed, normal sure-footed, whatever you may have to help. But if you're really good at focusing and you pay more attention to the game than me and what I do, definitely just hit your 2. A lot easier. Same with energy. If you're having energy problems, you could also throw on Zeneric. I know I've seen a lot of people use Zeneric. Helps, and then it'll help you get your stretch or arcane stretch, electric procs, which will help you get more energy. Once you have the energy, you'll never lose it, unless you, for whatever reason, can't hit any enemies. But I think in this video, I even mess up a little bit. I lose the buffs, and you still see how easy it is to kill something with the backups that I have. Or I may use a backup, I may use a turret, honestly I forgot. But it's a real simple build. It's nothing hard. I recommend it. Obviously, I'm the one that made it. Or not made it, but. And then as far as Steel Path content in general, for people that haven't done it, don't be afraid of it. Steel Path isn't really hard. You get a lot more platinum passively because of the steel essence you can use. Clearing the star chart in Steel Path is probably honestly harder than doing the incursions every day. And then if you're having problems with like an interception or something, or rescue, capture, whatever it may be, some days you'll get lucky and it'll pop up in a Steel Path, or you can probably ask somebody. I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll help you. I know some people helped me whenever I was first getting started with them, because I still wasn't sure, didn't have the right weapons. I was using some pretty bad weapons compared to what I use now. But yeah, like see right there, unbuffed, I just switched to the Zaw. And if you throw on the one that decreases attack speed, increases damage, you got it. You don't have any problem. Anyways though, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. Hope you guys liked it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Show anyone that doesn't know anything about the game. I hope the gameplay wasn't too atrocious. Have an amazing year, amazing day. And if you have any suggestions for me, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear. I even get confused here. Huh? That's funny. Anyways, have a good day. See you guys.
It is done.